we're talking about the importance and the value of establishing relationships rather than just simply keeping everything strictly business oriented.
That's one of those lessons that you've been trying to teach us for years, Dad. The many
I
lessons that
have.
you teach us,
I
and then
have.
we go like this, and then we don't
Uh-huh.
do it, and then 10
Uh-huh.
years later we come back and go, all right, Dad, I'll give you some credit there. I think you were right the whole time. You're like, I've been
Mhm.
saying this for years,
Mhm.
years.
Yeah, 10 years ago when I started telling you guys all about that, right about up here, I had a heck of a lot more hair. And because every time that you guys just start giving me all that pushback, I just start pulling more and more and more out of it. Now, God, you guys, I mean, have I'm wearing a hat. Why? Because I'm mostly freaking bald. You know, why am I almost bald? It's because of one, two, three. You guys,
Oh,
you know,
I like
you
how you
know.
switched that back on us because on the last episode I was blaming it on you. Now,
Oh
I
no.
guess
Hey, at last I checked, you traded that hair that you were pulling out for dollar bills, though. So what would you rather have?
oh,
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
no, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay,
people would
okay, but
trade the dollar bills back for the hair if you could turn
Yeah.
back the time, right?
that's exactly right. That's like when I go to the barber, I say a little bit off the side and a little more on top. But I digress. Uh, yeah. So anyway, such as it
Yeah,
is.
so this hits home with me. So relational versus transactional. I think that's what we're
Sure.
talking about, right?
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, and I am what do you call that? What do you call that? Guilty? Do
what?
you
You're
call that guilty?
transactional? You're
Yeah, guilty
transactional, huh?
of being extremely transactional in business. So that's what I've done for years is like what they'll say to me is this. They'll say very fast, helpful, knowledgeable, but never like my buddy. That it's
Mhm.
very fast, knowledgeable, helpful. So all good things,
Personable.
but it's not like, oh, that's my friend, that's my trust, like I like hanging out or talking, or there's no relation. It's just like I can call there and know they're going to answer my questions, process my transaction, get the shipping quickly and do it well. But it's not, that's the only memorable part about the scenario. So this is um you know this whole way of thinking is stretching me to be like relational. Actually, hey, oh, you have kids, and how old are they? Like, how is that?
Yeah,
Others.
I mean, just listen to yourself. You just asking that question. It looked like it was like you were struggling to
Right.
even ask that question. Oh, how old are they? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, come on, that's a simple question. It's like, oh, you have kids. How old are your kids? For
Yeah.
God's sakes.
Right, right. I know, and because I'm thinking I've got 150 emails. The phone is ringing. Like I have a quota order, or I've got to just like get to this and meet my deadlines and all that. But I really do like. I think okay. So yes, like the relational versus transactional. It's clear. Like you know, like David, what you said. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Like
Yeah.
you want to just do business with your friends, have a good time, do good business, all that kind of stuff. You like the people. Obviously, it has to be trust and all that, but you want to like the people you do business with. Hey, I just like this person. I'll send a referral. I'll buy from you just because I like you. Um, but I think there's a time. There's the nuance of, I think relational is important, but I think having transactional abilities in your toolkit is still important because
100%.
yeah, you can't just be so relational with everybody. That's too many people.
I don't think that that's really what we're really even saying here. Because the truth of the matter is, some people that you'll be doing business with, they want no part of all that personal stuff. They're calling you for a very specific purpose. I need the information. I need to get this thing done. Help me get that done. And I'm busy. I got to keep moving on. But that's where being able to read who it is that you're dealing with plays into all of this. So if you start getting, you're having this conversation and you get that spider sense that this is somebody that just wants to get this thing done. Well, you just get it done and move on. But there's other people that aren't cut out of that mold. Some of the other people, they want to know a little bit more about your company, and they start asking these other things. You start getting this feeling that they're more interested to know a little bit more. So a lot of the times that'll open up the door for you to be able to share a little more, ask a little more, learn a little more, and then after a little while, they kind of get to like you a little better. And then when the time comes for them to reorder, they're going to come back to the people that they know, like, and trust. So the people that are more transaction oriented, maybe they'll come back and maybe they won't. There's no relationship there.
Yeah, I know from personal experience seeing what you've accomplished in your career, Dad. It's like you build these really loyal customers. Hey, like I want to do business with you, but like with the state of California, for example, they got to go out to bid. But it's like they always like try to help you out in some way. They let you know little extra information, or
Mm-hmm.
if they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to go to bid, then they funnel the business to you, or they send you that person over here in this other department. They'll send you that referral. And
Mm-hmm.
there's people that'll like fight their internal team just to help get you the deal because of the relationship that you built with them.
Sure. I remember
Yeah.
that there was this insurance company in the Sacramento area, for example, kind of along those lines. Um, I had kind of a long-standing relationship with them, and in all fairness, I think I did a pretty good job in there, to provide the products and the support and all of that other stuff. Pretty high-level stuff. Um, then they got bought out by another company, and the other company was wanting to use their vendors. And so this is one of the companies that ended up keeping two vendors, only two out of all the vendors that they used in this company. Pretty good sized company. And fortunately, I was one of them. So that was kind of gratifying. So yeah, it takes a little bit more, work. But at the same time, I mean, if you're thinking more in the long term rather than in the short term, it's an investment that really pays off.
So
Hmm.
that's a huge one because we've been talking about that LTV metric, and you just said that pays off in the the long term, so long term value, because we have these customers like that are like, oh yeah, how's your dad doing? Like, yeah, we've gone way back 20 years, and here they are again. It's like, how much was that customer worth in the long run? Like,
Mhm.
that relationship was 20 years, 30 years of orders. I mean,
Oh,
that's huge.
Dad did so good that when we came into the business, like we would answer the phone, hey, this is Drew or Dustin, David, whatever, and they would just be like, yep, Doug, please. I'd be like, oh yeah, Doug's not available. I'll be the one to help you out going forward. Nope, I only work with Doug. And it's like, I wish he could come help you, but I'm sorry, you get the second best, his son.
I mean, Dad, hey, Dad, when did you stop like actively selling?
2016.
2016. So that's 6 years ago.
Hmm.
Literally got an email in August of this year with somebody who wanted to do business with you specifically. Like 6 years later, like they're asking, like, oh yeah, I work with Doug, blah blah blah, and they want something because of that relationship 6 years ago.
No,
That's
they
Yeah.
get mad when
crazy.
they can't talk to him. They're like, no, I only talk to the Doug special over there. I need Dougie Fresh. Get him on the line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so dad was extremely relational, but also handled the transaction because he would smother with service, like his terminology with, he's going to just be like, I'll be out there, I'll do, like, he'd go above and beyond for the transactional portion of it, but always like maintain the relationship throughout the process. So it's really like a whamma jamma, I don't know, like a double, like a
Nice.
1-2 special, it's both, it's both,
Yeah.
Well,
like, can't.
the thing is, the truth of the matter is I was always kind of what would go through my head is I want to provide service that is head and shoulders above anybody else, period. So If they need something, they get it fast. If they want, like, for example, information, a quote, a delivery, some support, anything, they get it and they get it fast. And then they go, wow, that I'm not used to getting that kind of service. And that's what I want to hear. Because we all know that service these days isn't what it used to be. It's pretty bad, to be honest. But even back then, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, even more. Um, Service was declining, but it was, you could still find some pretty good service, but didn't really change my attitude at all because I was really still just thinking it doesn't matter how good it is because I'm going to provide better. And to a large extent, I think I probably succeeded in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
definitely.
think part of it too, you have like a genuine interest in people. Like
Oh, yeah.
you're genuinely interested, like, oh, this is the person who rides the Harley and goes on the thing, and not as like a business tactic. You'll read in some of these books like, oh yeah, get their name and remember like things about them. Like
Mm-hmm.
you do that naturally because you're naturally interested in just, oh, like, oh, that's cool. You like that stuff. Oh wow. And you're just interested in people in general and all different walks of life. And I think that that's a huge asset. Do you think that's something you developed or that you have like that is just like you've had by nature, or is like all because you remember all these like wild things, like you just have like this memory for like these stories and these people and what they do and all this stuff where a lot of people don't even remember all that stuff. Is that like something, have you always had that genuine curiosity and interest, or was it like because of
Yeah,
business or?
I think it's kind of a combination. But no, you're right. I mean, if people tell you, like, for example, you're looking at somebody and maybe they look like me, they're kind of older and stuff, and then he says, "Oh yeah, I ride my Harley over to, Sturgis every year." And I'm looking at the guy like, "Really? You have a big? Tell me what kind of bike do you ride? I mean, you do that? I mean, that's a long ride. I mean, I had a motorcycle myself just a couple of years ago, and um, I can tell you, long rides are not easy. I suppose, especially when you get older. But that's a long ways to ride. So, whenever people share stories like that, or they went to Patagonia or something, it's like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Tell me about that. I'd like to know more about that. So yeah, and you know this to be true, Dustin. Anytime that we're on these sales meetings and things, I'm always saying you have to be curious. Have a sense of curiosity. If you're, doing some discovery or something, and you have a customer who's actually willing to talk and open up a little bit, well, ask them questions and listen. Absolutely listen, and through active listening, you will learn quite a bit. And the more you learn, the more interesting the customer can become because you'll learn more things about them professionally as well as personally, depending upon your line of questioning.
Hey everyone, thanks a lot for joining us on this clip of the We Blowing Up podcast as me and my family are on the pursuit of blowing up our small family business and taking you along for the ride. Now, if you want to see the full episode, check that out right up here. Otherwise, check out another clip of here and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future episodes and clips.